Okay. Hi, everyone. We are going to talk about, in a very layman term, but with the understanding of how branding works at a global level and how international brands are branding with the movies which have a purpose and which is fun to watch, which is fun to engage the mind. And at the same point of time, you get to learn about trademarking and stuff. So perhaps a part of me, we are into research from the point of view primary, secondary, tertiary research, and particularly my focus is on the primary research in terms of selecting the right input data sets and then create magic around it. So perhaps this particular stuff is to do with uh, Cadbury gems. Honestly speaking, the printing and the packaging has been compromised. I understand because of the lockdown. A lot of things are being curtailed in terms of developing the product, but let's stick to the point of the intellectual property rights around this particular stuff, which is Cadbury gems. It has a QR code, so it's a mirror image. So it's here. This is a QR code. QR stands for quick response code, and particularly is in terms of the language of intellectual world. It is supposed to take the latitude and longitude and the area of formulae around the same, and then you can scan the stuff and you can log on to the web domain. So this is a bigger packet, um, and this particular thing, I mean, while growing up now, also it's something which reminds us of our childhood days. I'm just going through the coding part here. It is not to be sold without the outer packet. And I remember particularly in the 90s in India, there was a lot of infringement around this particular stuff. If particularly you are going to, if somebody is going to watch these circus was common phenomena in those days, and there was one person selling stuff, so there was a lot of infringement and a lot of things were copied at that point of time. This particular thing, it has a maze. I am not carrying my pencil right now, but perhaps um, now, since my mind, I'm an ambidextrous and it works in different manner. uh, this is done in a good format. I mean, this is something like a collectible, and people should collect it. You should not throw it. It can be like an NFT. um, and perhaps I am not very sure whether they have the same thing. If I would be in the marketing department, I would have um, given a different dinosaur to each of these cards. So just for the memory game, they have this maze part. You can participate here, and perhaps it has some codes also. I'm just checking the codes. Is the code same? Mm, no, it has different codes. Um, and it is manufactured in India, Pantnagar. And this is a lot of intellectual property here on here. So the point of contention is there's a lot of infringement of the intellectual property right, and the fun part is perhaps this happened in one of the government places I went. I was invited as a speaker. My fellow co-speaker, he was using the slides, and perhaps he used one of my own slides which was online. He just took a snapshot and he just started talking about it. So the point here is everyone or every second or third entity, whether it's a professor, reader, this, that, in the intellectual property world, is copying somebody else's work. And that copy or the copycatting, in very simple words, should be stopped, or at least in very simple words, there are different licenses. One should be um, honest enough to take the license and then talk about it, or give a part of the royalty. Because honestly speaking, the domain names and everything are losing its value right now, because there's so much developed on the portal part that all these trademarking domain names have lost its value, because the folks who owned the domain name, they thought they can just create a value proposition around it. But for the new world order, because everything is infringed, this holds no value. Now, the next important question which comes is, or one should be asking is, then what is value right now, given the data set, where the world is heading in terms of the not only the connectivity, but the offline world, the online world, the hybrid world, the remote world, the outer space, the aliens, and there's so much which is being orchestrated at any given point of time. The value proposition is very simple: communicate. You have to communicate. You have to communicate in real time. You have to communicate to the right data sets in terms of the nodes. That is what peer to peer is. Honestly speaking, the word blockchain, the peer to peer, and all these terms don't hold any value, stating the fact a lot of web work is ongoing. So I'm part of the white web, which is to do with the cybersecurity and stuff. We have orchestrated a lot of cyber drills. We conducted a lot of online stuff, a lot of reporting I have done, and then obviously the other party at the other end needs to take cognizance and work accordingly, and get hold of the offender, and then obviously the drafting of the smart contracts and stuff. So, just in continuation of what we discussed, so in the coming days, just make a note of the branding part. It doesn't mean that if you don't have a trademark, or a patent, or anything or everything, your business won't work, or whatever level playing field you are in. The level playing field is not decided on one parameter. Let me tell you, the level playing field has zillion parameters, and one of the paramount parameters is the historical data set. And that doesn't run one generation, two generation, three generation. It is whatever one entity, enterprise, stakeholders, and the core stakeholders. Like, I'm part of zillion cores. Not only like, we know each other in terms of the coding part also. Like, if I'm part of this core, what I'm supposed to do, my SOPs are ready. If I'm part of this code, my SOPs are ready. If I'm part of this code, my SOPs are ready. And at any given point of time, we are not here to fight against each of the cores. No, we are just aligning the things so the real blockchain can be developed. And folks who are at the back end, at the admin end, they understand the impact of how internet came into existence, particularly in India, and how web 1.0 was established, because John McCarthy and team had already established everything. It was just the node was not being set up from India. And perhaps because the node took that much of time to have that set up. So that is one of the very historical data set which needs to be taken into consideration. And I would request everyone to just upskill themselves. That's the only way out to get into whatever protocol you wish to. And just upskill, and just everything is free in terms of utilizing the online resources. You can have your MVPs ready. Just keep working on it, do the gig work, and one day perhaps you'll be part of some some core where you would be utilized. Because at any given point of time, the headhunters are searching for those kind of individuals. And we are very selective in selecting people. It's not that I'm going to select one in 10,000. My selection criteria is totally different. And when we select, we work with them in different capacities, but more from a gig point of view. Because now, it's for me personally, it's next to impossible for someone to be working with me 24 cross 7. I generally like to work where it's a gig economy, because we need to make sure that the trade secret remains a trade secret, because that is something which is paramount right now to us. Thank you for watching it out. Have a great weekend ahead. This is the IST time zone, and perhaps it's 9:11 p.m. Um, so it is 21:11 p.m. reporting.